Good day, and welcome to AP Studio Art with me, Mr. Crittenden. We have a lot to cover, so let's jump on in. Or not, if this thing doesn't want to change the slide. Here we go. The primary goals of the course is to build on prior skills in studio art first and foremost. We want to be getting better, and we want to be working hard to be getting better. We will also be emphasizing the construction of one's own body of work. That is essential to the AP process, and it is pretty much the entire AP process. Students will therefore take part in what is called a sustained investigation to research and produce work of personal significance. This will be done primarily in the sketchbook that all students currently have. That work will be a form of research, of sort of self-discovery, and figuring out what they are interested in order to create works of a more conceptual profoundness. Over here on the side is an example of a page from my own sketchbook where I took part in my own sustained investigation in preparation for this course. The students in the class know this well at this point. I reference it, but it is essentially a space for students to work through their ideas, to practice different art making techniques, and to come up with creative ways to organize their thoughts. These sketchbook pages will be applied to the AP portfolio, which will be submitted in May. On top of that, we'll go into all of the criteria for submission. We'll just go over like the base numbers, but the portfolio is comprised of two main parts, which we'll cover in the next slide. And when that work is submitted, if students achieve a 3 or higher on the 5-number scale for their AP, they, depending on the school they choose, may be able to earn college credit for it, but will certainly earn the AP credit for it. So let's move on to the next one. Here we go. So the learning structure of AP Art. I'll explain everything to the side here in a moment. Students will complete weekly or bi-weekly assignments. Sketchbook research and work during sustained investigation is absolutely vital. Not only is it important for me to track a student's progress, but it's important for students to be able to manage their own time and their own materials and thoughts, to be able to stay on pace for not only creating the works that they need to make for the sustained investigation, but towards working to having the highest quality selected works as possible. So in May, students will compile, sorry, that's a typo. They will submit, compile curated work for the AP to the AP committee. They will be sending off both digital and physical copies of their work if it does exist physically. That will lead to 15 works for the sustained investigation portion and 5 works for the selected works portion. We will continue to go into the details of what that means over the course of the fall, so students have a really firm grasp on what they need to have. Suffice to say, it is a bit complex, but there is a simple solution for everything. Over here on the side is just more examples of process work that I did in creating my own work for an AP finished piece. So you can see here that the concept behind my work was to create something that was able to decompose and become part of the earth again. So if you look at my previous thing, it's all about gardening and why I value it. And then I'm applying that interest and I'm working through it visually through my sketchbook, but I'm also taking process photos of the work that I did. So I ended up making my own paper, and then I put marigold seeds into that paper, let it dry, and then I did my finished drawing over top of it. And when I say finished, I mean it's not completely finished, but this is my in-process photo for the illustration that I did for my selected works, quote unquote. So the grade category breakdown for this class is a bit different than in the past. Students still need they need to have a sketchbook, but the small assignment category is now called the sketchbook and sustained investigation work. That will be tracked weekly for student progress, and it's many skill building exercises essentially, but also again, self-investigation, research, things of that nature. The selected works that students do will be finished pieces. Now that doesn't mean we're only going to create 5 throughout the year. We're going to create many more than that, but when it comes time to submit them, they will curate which ones they want to submit. But those selected works will be restrained to probably 3 to 4 per quarter. And then finally, participation. Well, not finally, but participation and effort, obviously. So students need to be working. They need to be making progress. If the sketchbook starts to lag behind, or students come into class not knowing what to do, that's going to be an issue as things go on. So students need to come prepared for class, come in daily, ready to go. And also written responses and self-assessment is incredibly important because a good portion of the AP grade is how well students are able to express their concepts, their process, the materials, all of that. So we will be working on written expression as well. Class materials, we already know. I'm already running quite long. I told you we had a lot to cover. So I'll just go over this briefly. Obviously, students need a sketchbook. They already have that. They already have the pencil and the eraser. That's what they need to bring in daily. The art department has many materials available for students for completing selected works, but in some cases, students may need to purchase their own materials for their work. So if students getting really ambitious or they're doing something that's a bit more like exotic in terms of like what they're using, like if a student wanted to make something out of gold leaf and marble, they would be responsible for that cost, obviously. So that's the long and short of it. Please be sure to check Canvas regularly for the latest assignments, grades, announcements, and course information. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach me through Canvas, Messenger, or at crittendenz@ollchs.org. The email is definitely the preferred method. Canvas Messenger doesn't always work. So crittendenz@ollchs.org. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to a great year working towards some really significant artwork. Take care.